Hello and welcome back from Berlin Fashion Film Festival 2021. Elena Petitti di Roreto, another creative powerhouse I'm very happy to introduce to you. Taking inspiration from art and photography, Elena's films are characterized by a strong attention to aesthetics, details, light and composition. Based in Milan and London, she has worked with several fashion brands and magazines such as Bottega Veneta, Mulberry, Valentino, Dries Van Noten, COS, Hugo Boss, Vogue Italia and ID. In the relatively short time Elena's been directing, her work has won many awards, including Best New Italian Film at the Fashion Film Festival Milano in 2018 and 2016. Get to know all about Elena's creative endeavors and gain precious insights. Stay tuned for the upcoming keynote presentation, video produced in collaboration with prolific production company Ricorda.
I'm frightened.
Hello. One of the most important elements for me is research. That's why you have this beautiful background going on. I think it's a bit more interesting than just my face. Those are basically, I don't know, not all, but many of the images I have archived on my computer. I'm quite obsessive with this archiving process. I really like to divide everything I found with tags. That could be related to colors, shape, author, or many other elements. So that when I'm doing a research, I just, I have easy access to everything I've been collecting in the past years. For me, the best strategy to approach any kind of project and narrative. So yeah, this is also the answer to the second question. When I approach a project, what I do is starting this sort of research from new images, new inputs, new concepts, and also in what has been my archive that you keep seeing in the background. And then I create something like a visual map that help me basically navigate a certain concept or a certain, research I'm doing, and to create a meaning, putting together all these different elements. Of course, it's very, you need to be careful not to copy. So I never like to give one single reference for one image, because otherwise there are a lot of copycats. I like to give a more, tri-dimensional view with many inputs from many different sources, so that what we go and create is something new. I really love to work with fashion. Weirdly, everything easier. Most of the time, there is much more freedom in fashion, and it's really when they choose a director or a photography, they're really choosing an artist, and they want to work with the vision that artist is bringing to the table, and it's exciting. And the film I choose for this interview to show are actually just editorials, so I didn't put any commercial work, and I really love to do editorials because I got the most freedom than in any other project. I started not directly by being a video editor for a production company in Milan, and actually that was something I really wanted to do, and I do remember when I was a teenager, I saw for the first time Clockwork Orange. It was pretty shocking for everyone who saw it for the first time, of course. But there is one scene that really, I think it was the reason why I started to do editing. I think when I saw that scene, I kind of, at the time I was playing classical piano, I was really passionate about classical music, and I saw this scene and I say, yeah, this is what I want to do. Becco di Rame is one of the films I'm showing today. It was possibly one of the first films I ever done. It is an editorial, and basically it was inspired by a real a real love story. So the girlfriend of a good friend of mine basically told me that she had this goose with a prosthetic beak made out of copper. And I saw the picture, I saw this animal, and I found it was really punk. I mean, this kind of weird, fake beak. It was really fascinating, and I wanted to learn more. So I basically I learned how this goose lose the beak, bravely defending his territory from an aggressive fox, and so they had to rebuild a fake beak, and that's the story behind this very beautiful and fascinating animal. So I found this story very interesting, and I thought it was an interesting way also to touch the argument of amputation and prosthetic, which is somehow close to fashion, because we are talking about something that you put over your body with or without a function. In this case, with a function.
Chapter 1. When I lost myself. Chapter 2. When I met the copper-beaked goose and stepped into its tail. Chapter 3. About the fox. Chapter 4. The loss, the completion of our transference. Chapter 5. The redemption or the beauty of the processes. Chapter 6. The end.
One of the most enjoyable projects I have ever worked on was one of the last one shot recently was about a lubrificant. So it was very enjoyable because such a weird client, and I had to deal with the sexuality. I had to deal with how people approach sexuality, and it was during COVID, and so I had to cast just real people who were really living together and having real love affairs or any kind of sexual orientation. And so it was very interesting. I mean, mostly the part I enjoyed the most was having conversation with these people and learning about stuff I don't know and about type of love I don't experience. And it was very educational for me. The next film is Vogue Italia for Yux, and it was a very interesting project for me because it was the first time I've been commissioned a project on the sustainability thematic. And at the time we did that one was one of the first, and I really didn't know how to approach this because I didn't want to do something that was like a pointing finger sort of film. So I didn't want to do something, oh, you have to feel guilty because planet goes to shit and blah blah blah. So I thought about it a lot, and I wanted to find a way to keep the high aesthetical level of Vogue Italia and still tell something that is like very nasty. I took inspiration from again a Flemish painter, Bruegel, and I took inspiration from one of those paintings that were basically allegory of the earth, and they were basically representation of the status of the the natural world on that moment. So you had like if you were doing an allegory of water, you had like beautiful fishes, beautiful seaside, everything in nature was flourishing, was like the top of the beauty of the earth at that moment that painting was realized. And so in my case, I wanted to redo exactly the same sort of painting, like exactly the same structure. If you're gonna see the diagonal and the way you see the background and the way the pose of the girl and the elements I put all around are really kind of literal on the allegoric level. But I set it up in a dumpster. This is where we are now.
waste breaks down, and then we take out the gas, methane, make electricity. Bad water, contaminated water, we clean it, put it back in the environment. So yeah, it's all good. That's why.
The last editorial I'm gonna show, I don't wanna say much because it was again inspired by sustainability thematic, but in this case I wanted to do more a sort of horror story, a bit more punchy.
Hey.
Hi.
So I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Girls, let's begin.
What am I working next? This is always the last question, but it's always the question I can't answer because I have to sign a lot of NDA, so I'm not gonna answer, but I hope something exciting, and yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Magst du noch action? Ah. Das Bett.
Hi, I'm Thomas Lachambre. I will talk about Walking, which is a film I did with Peter Lindbergh in 2016 in New York, just around Times Square. At first, Walking was a photography project. Peter proposed to shoot the entire issue of the Italian Vogue as if it was a book. The idea of filming this came quite later. Even if I was used of this kind of set, that was my beginning as videographer on the side of Peter, and that was still a bit impressive. You have to imagine that Peter knows those models since few decades, and for most of them from the early beginning. When I was filming on the side, I really felt like I was intruding into their intimacy, which tended to be very uncomfortable for me. And sometimes Peter stopped shooting and he gave me the opportunity to film the model just for myself, and that was a huge boost for the film and to my personal confidence, I have to say. So we shoot today in New York Street, and we have one day of a beautiful sun, and the second day was like huge rain. For many people, when it's raining, it's a big problem to work, but not for Peter. When it's raining, he just decided to do a beautiful picture in the rain, and that's what he did. Also, I was really worried that I could miss something, so I was filming almost all the time. So I had a massive rush. The edit was really long. I remember that I did 11 versions of the edit before we get what we want. The edit was 15 minutes long. Obviously for the Vogue Italy and for Non-S also, that was much too long, so I had to edit a much shorter version. But Peter wanted to keep this long version, especially because he had in mind to use it during his exhibition in the NRY Forum in Düsseldorf. A very important thing also is when we were almost the end of the edit, unfortunately we learned the passing of Peter's close friend and the Italian Vogue fashion editor Franca Sozzani. For Peter it was a big loss. From then it was obvious for Peter that this film will be dedicated to Franca. Today I'm really glad that the Berlin Fashion Film Festival gave me the opportunity to dedicate this film to Peter.
like home should be like. Home is different.
J'ai trace mon chemin, tes labeurs solitaires, c'est un sentir d'achèvement. La conscience de la terre. J'ai mon futur appelle des attentes. J'entends le monde en son rêve, fixé.